Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm sure when we are in a place like this, it is important to rejoice, but also to listen. It's very important, colleagues. We appreciate everything that is going on here. Mr. President, the President of the Republic of Zambia, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, I want to specially recognize you this morning and thank you for the leadership that you have given through the process that we have gone through. I want to also recognize the former vice presidents, my brothers, that sat where I'm sitting today, and therefore a source of wisdom. I want to recognize all honorable ministers, honorable members of parliament, permanent secretaries, but I see in here the Secretary General of the mighty UPND, the deputy, and other senior members of UPND. I also recognize every member, but more, allow me to recognize this very Minister of Justice, singled out of the ministers. I'm sure we all remember what she went through. Let me just say, I recognize Zambians everywhere who have been part of this process. Some of you silently, quietly, you participated. Some of you spoke for the bill. Some of you spoke against the bill. This is wonderful democracy, Mr. President. After this, we remain resilient. That's who we are as Zambians. We have debated. The President, our leader, President Hakainde Hichilema. I think those that write speeches would have said, what a momentous occasion. Why momentous? It is a time of moving forward with our President, the man with the vision for the country for the time. You can continue your politics, but President Hakainde Hichilema is the president, and therefore the visionary. I don't want to use words that will be misunderstood, but is the accepted leader. And remember, for those, Zambia is a Christian nation. We say all leadership is from above. He is the leader for now. And this is why we have gone through this process. Mr. President, what an honor for me to stand here. Is it still morning? It is morning. And call upon you to address Zambian people in speaking to this bill that you have just assented to today. Zambians, listen carefully. My plea, before I ask the President to address you, is now breathe, relax, read the bill with objectivity, not in the eyes of politics. Read with objectivity, the Constitution rather, not the bill. Read the Constitution with objectivity, and we look forward to the implementation. Mr. President, it is your time, sir, to come and address your people, the people of Zambia that are looking to you. Welcome, Mr. President. Thank you. Thank you. Let's clap for the President as he comes. Let's clap for him, for the leadership, for the leadership. Not easy to lead, for the leadership.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. You may take your seats, please. Kalani Pansi, Karen Panshi, Amwine Fasipula, Amkale. Thank you very much. Let me just greet all of us. Good morning. Good morning, Zambians. Thank you very much. Let me recognize the Republican Vice President who has just invited me to speak here today. Let me acknowledge our former Vice Presidents. I call them Vice Presidents as well. I think that's the befitting title. One's a President, one's a Vice President, a Vice President. So let me recognize you, Vice President who served before us. Let me recognize the Speaker of the National Assembly. The Speaker of the National Assembly and your deputies, two of them, Madam Chisangano and Honorable Moses Moyo, two deputy speakers, your management team at Parliament, including the clerk of the National Assembly, and the whole team, all of them. Let me recognize the Chief Justice of our country, Zambia, and indeed the whole justice team. Let me put it this way. Legal team, judiciary is the right word. Chief Justice representing the whole judiciary, rank and file. We recognize you. Let me recognize the Minister of Justice. The Minister of Justice, by the way, she's the first female Minister of Justice. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. And in there is your team, Minister of Justice, Attorney General, the Solicitor General, the permanent secretaries, the chambers, Attorney General's chambers, that does a lot of work. We recognize all of you, including he who or she who makes tea in that ministry. We recognize you. Let me recognize my colleagues, cabinet ministers, of course the provincial minister, the host, but cabinet ministers that are present here. And let me acknowledge the worship, the mayor of Lusaka. Worship the mayor of Lusaka. Let me acknowledge the members of parliament, all the members of parliament, all of the members of parliament. Without exception, all members of parliament, the legislature, the members of parliament are voted to do only one thing. They are the only people with a simple description, job description, to legislate, to make laws of our country. So we recognize all of you and the structures there, the whips from all the parties. We recognize you. Let me acknowledge the presence of the public sector through the Secretary to Cabinet and central government, local government, quasi-government institutions represented through the Secretary to the Cabinet. We recognize you, all of you. Do a lot of work, great work, sometimes thankless work, but comes with the territory. Let me acknowledge our United Party for National Development, through the Secretary General, of our party and all the structures. Let me acknowledge political parties, leaders of political parties and all your political parties in this our constitutional democracy anchored on political parties. Sometimes we try and demean political parties, yet our constitutional democracy actually entails that we ascend to public office like the one I'm occupying through political parties. So political parties are important, very, very important. Our alliance partners, I did mention, if I didn't, we appreciate your presence and what you've been doing to bring the country together. I must also acknowledge with gratitude the Royal Highnesses, our Royal Highnesses, traditional leaders from across the country. We recognize you and all your structures, including headmen like me. We recognize them because those are important structures. Let me do that through the chair. I do that recognition through the chair of the House of Chiefs, His Royal Highness Chief Chongo. Through you, sir, we recognize all your structures. Citizens will be aware that we have provincial chairs. In the 10 provinces, we have provincial chairs. After the chair, Chief Chongo, then there are 10 other provincial chairs in each province. So we recognize all of you. I am aware that we have the chairperson of the Electoral Commission of Zambia and all your commissioners, madam, and your management and staff. We recognize all of them. Let me move on to recognize truly the labor movement. The labor movement and your leadership, various components of the labor movement, we recognize you. I must acknowledge leaders, faith-based leaders, leaders of faith-based organizations. All of you, without exception, we recognize you. I want to recognize the chair, Mushavati, the vice, and all of the Mushavati Technical Committee members. Thank you for your work. We'll refer that to soon in the speech, but we recognize you. You did a splendid job, efficiently, timely. Never been done before in this manner. Thank you very much. Let me acknowledge my fellow monks and momas. Oh, the students, viva monko viva, viva moma viva, once a monk, once a monk. There is a monk standing here. So all the student leaders in our universities, our colleges, our schools, all of you, and the student body in totality. I know the Unza guys like saying, Bali wapa Unza, but Bali is now for everybody, for all the students. Thank you very much. Let me acknowledge the civil society, all of the civil society. Tremendous work you do for our country. And sometimes it's not acknowledged we acknowledge your presence and the work that you do. I don't mean one particular civil society or NGOs. I mean all. I mean all. Let me acknowledge, and I'm doing this not in any particular order, our diplomats, high commissioners, ambassadors accredited to our country. Thank you for what we do together, and thank you for being present today here. Let me acknowledge the presence of women organization leaders, all those that lead women organizations across our country, our mothers, our mothers, our mothers. We recognize you. Bainetu. Bainetu. We recognize you. Let me acknowledge the presence of the media. Thank you, media. We appreciate what you do. May I simply say, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, today is a special day in the history of our country. Today is a special day in the history of our country. Today is a great day in the history of our country. And an indelible ink has been printed in the annals of history today. An indelible ink has been printed in the annals of history. Today, we complete a process that belongs, monks, everybody's here. Let's get the message, guys. Today, we complete a process that belongs not to one, not to two, not to 10 or 100 or a million, but a process that belongs to all the Zambian citizens today. Today's writing in the annals of history is not for any one political party. It is for all political parties. It is not for any one leader. It's for all leaders, not just in politics, in church, in indeed businesses and various institutions of our country. Today is a day for the nation of Zambia. Pamana, it's a day for the country we love called Zambia. Epela. That's all. I want to acknowledge that today and emphasize that today is not for a particular ethnicity. No. But it's for Zambians. It's not for Lambias. It's not for Namangas. It's not for Tumbukas. It's not for Nyikas. It's not for Totelas. It's not for Subias. Today is not for Nsengas or Sengas. No. Today is not for Tumbukas. Today is not for Tokas. It's not for Tongas, Bembas, Lozis, Chebas, Ngonis. No, it's not at all. It's for the totality of Zambian citizens. Today is not a day for a particular church or two churches. No, Paikona. It is for the body of Christ all the religious organizations, Christian organizations, is for the Board of Trust. And the Board of Trust is one, only one. In this Christian nation, the Board of Trust is only one. Today is not for Muslims. It's not for Hindus. It's not for the Sikhs. It's for religious organizations. It's for believers today. Believing in one God, calling that God different names. Allah, many names. That's what today is all about. And I make this point with passion. I make this point with passion. I want to acknowledge that, as the Vice President said, the debate was intense. The debate was heavy. You could touch it. You could touch it. It was deep. It was wide. The debate sometimes was done in song, sometimes in statements, sometimes, unfortunately, in threats. Other times, it was done on social media, parroting inclusions, so-called inclusions in Bill 7 of 2025, which never existed, such as agitating people that there was an attempt by the executive to increase the term of the president to 7 years. There was nothing in here of that nature. There was nothing in here. To scaremonger citizens and say that this fellow speaking wanted to remove a 50% plus one provision. There was never an intention to do that. To remove the running mate and somehow obliterate the Republican Vice President through this process, there was never a thought of that in this process. Not a single day. I'm talking about the debate, how issues were angled and delivered in order to scatter or to win souls, scatter citizens, divide citizens. That was never the intention. The intention was to focus on non-contentious issues, issues that will bring value, issues that will not take away, but issues that will add on a building block basis in our fundamental law called the Constitution. That was the intention. It was never meant to exclude. It was always intended to include. To include those that have been excluded from time immemorial. Bring them on board. As they say, you cannot decide about my issues at a table where I'm not invited. Isn't it? That's what we are saying as Africa. At the UN, we are saying we want the reform of the United Nations Security Council so that we can sit at that table and make decisions of security, nature, peace, security, and stability that reflect the circumstances of the African continent. Others are making decisions for us, and we're saying no. We want to sit at the table of the Security Council so that the deliberations would include our circumstances on the continent. Equally here, this process was meant to include, to bring on the table, when decisions, laws are made in Parliament that affect women, we needed the women to sit in that Parliament. So we were adding rather than subtracting, contrary to how the debate was angled. The youth are the majority of our country. And we make laws that affect the youth. We decide on a law every year. Some Zambians don't pay attention. We have a law that we change every year in terms of content called the Budget Act. The budget itself is a piece of legislation. And the youth are not there to be heard so that their special circumstances can be included in this piece of legislation called the annual budget. This is what it was all about. It was nothing to take away anything from anybody. It was to bring those who were outside, to bring them on the table. That is and was always the intention. And it never started in 2025. It started way back, 2023, including the President's address, many addresses in that Parliament. So some argue that the time was too short. Others said the process was flawed. That's what the debate was all about. But the good news is that the debate was robust. Yes, fractious at times. This is the nature of a healthy democracy, and we welcome it with both hands. I shall repeat that. This is the path we chose, to have a democracy where we would debate issues, where we would exchange views, where our blind corner will be enlightened by Mr. X or Mrs. Y. The students, the women movement, the labor union. This is the path we chose, that of democracy and debate. So this process, concerns were raised, voices were passed, sometimes politely, sometimes aggressively, too aggressively. Threats. The key is that this is the route we chose. My call to the country, now that we're here, is that we reflect on how we debated. Were we civil towards each other? Were we polite towards each other? Did we lie about each other? Were we willing to reach out to each other? Extend a hand. Professionals debate, but debates do not turn into enmity. Debates should not turn into hatred on whatever basis or ism. Debate should be about enriching the process which is legal. As you know, we set ourselves laws, rules how to conduct our debates. The process, yes, was political, but ultimately the debate is about enriching the process so that the outcome will be of higher value than one or draft which obtained before the debate commenced. And my call to the people of Zambia is that a process like this, which is the way we amend the constitutions, there's no other way, must not lead to enmity, to hatred, to extrosization of each other. No. We stay within the confines of civility and dialogue. That's it. If a brother is inviting you to a dialogue table, why would you choose to go outside and throw stones inside the room where you are free to come in and dialogue. Those are the lessons we learn. 2, the Bible says, you are a Christian, you walk to take your offering to God, and you move to the altar to offer, to make that offering, to execute that offering. Then you remember, oh, I have a brother who is not happy with me. I have a sister who doesn't like certain things I've been doing. The Bible says at that moment you should leave the process there, leave your offering there at the altar, walk away and find that brother or sister and make peace with them. That's what the Holy Bible says. Teine. Mwimbe pesha. Nene mulanda. Teine. It's a Bible. The Holy Bible. And the only Bible, whether you are Methodist, Adventist, Catholic, New Apostolic, Christian missions in many lands, evangelical, charismatics, only one Bible. And that's what the Bible says. Yes, I'm a true elder. Leave the offering at the altar and move and find your brother. Pastor Mumba, I told you when I'm done, I'll be a lay preacher and you'll be teaching me. So you make peace with your brother. And then once you have reconciled, you've made peace, come now and make your offering and God will accept your offering. It's a message of peace making. Not looking for conflict. At the slightest misunderstanding, you are looking for conflict. You are veering off Christian values. No question about it. No matter how unhappy you are. That's the Bible. Let me move on to simply say all of those for this then Bill 7, 2025, and against Bill 7, 2025, you are all citizens. You are all Zambians. You are all Zambians. We are all Zambians. We recognize that. We recognize that. Let me just make a comment I had reserved, that this process was delayed. This signing should have taken place maybe around August. This process was delayed to allow for more consultations. This president said, let's put aside the bill in the House. Let's not rush it. Let's hear those who are saying, despite what the Justice Minister did to go around and various sessions and the processes which are taken place, there were still voices saying we want more consultations. And this servant of yours says, store that process, put this process aside. Let's have more consultations as citizens are asking for. And that was done. And I want to thank the Mushavati Technical Committee. Chibapase manja wabantu, manja. They were given the terms of reference in accordance with the Constitution of Zambia. I know some were saying they are illegal. These are excellent lawyers. Judge, Justice Mushavati. And his deputy, a young, capable Zambian, and so many skills, drafts skills, civil society, religious leaders, in their own right, exemplary citizens, in the individual rights. They were assembled together in accordance with the law, the fundamental law of the land, the very constitution. So, citizens, there was nothing illegal. It is the way it has been done. President before me have done it. We said to them, you don't have time. This government is a government of prudence, not wasting resources. 3 principles. Go and do this thing within the right cost. Don't overblow. 2, go and bring quality on the table. 3, do it timely. Not 2 years, 3 years. Look at this concern of wider consultation. But also, refer to other documents, secondary data. Other constitutional review commissions, Mongomba, so many. Mvunga, National Constitutional Conference, many. That was their mandate. But do all of that with the right cost. 2, quality of work. 3, timely. People have to be guided. That's how you run things. If you want to run successful things, you have to guide people when you give them an assignment. It's called terms of reference, scope of work. And I'm here to say the process of Bill 7 2025 then was enriched by the tremendous work that this committee did in 2 months only. 2 months only. Never been done before. I think citizens have got to get used to this government is doing many things like never before they were done. Minister Msogotwane will tell you that for the first time in the history of the country, we have reserves of $5.2 billion for the first time. I believe it's right. Never achieved before. Citizens have got to get used that this year we are moving towards 1 million metric tons of copper. Never done before in the history of mining in this country. There are many of such things. But back to the issue, they did this tremendous work, used technology, moved around, managed themselves, and presented their report. And I heard some debate, someone was saying, it's unusual. Technical committee, after they do their work, they must be removed. They move away. No. This president decided to retain those so that they can go and talk through their report. At the only avenue where you should do so is Parliament, through a select committee. And they did that. And this Bill 7 2025 then was heavily enriched by what the technical committee did. To pick one item, I was for no by-elections, and my case was argued, together with others, that we must have elections once in 5 years only. Between the 5-year window period, we must focus on developing the country and not spending money on by-elections. That was my argument. So that in the 5-year window, our focus is to build the country's economy, to grow it, to create jobs, business opportunities, to increase treasury income so we can continue funding free education and more bursaries and accommodation for those monks and momas. All of them. That was my argument. But the technical committee and other Zambians says, no, HH. Democracy is expensive. They said, no, let the by-elections continue against the original Bill 7 request to remove by-elections. And I conceded, give and take. We conceded. Taking committee put it in writing. And I said to Cabinet, we need to concede here. Dialogue, debate means give and take. You just can't take everything you want. Not only you should be the one to make constitutions, only you, out of 21 million Zambians. We gave in. There were other clauses we gave in because it was the right thing to do in a debate, in a process. Some call it a weakness, and I smile at them. I say, no, that's a strength. To concede when you need to concede, so that others can have their way as well, and you enrich the document. There's a democracy we chose. That's a democracy we chose. And I stand here, I harbor no hatred of any of those on the technical committee. Whoever wrote that in there or suggested, or I have no hatred, because that's what they were asked to do, to hear further consultations. So, once more, tipase manja ku our Mushavati technical committee. Manja. Thank you for doing that work. I know you received a lot of sticks and blows. It comes with the territory. I know it. Comes with the territory. Let me make one reference here. One reference. Very important reference. This parliament has UPND members. It has PF members. It has independents. This parliament has a member of parliament from Haiva Mududu's party. Yes. The only youth in this parliament, only one youth comes from the Hamududu party. Stand up. Thank you. Don't worry about the size of his body. And the only one, now with or without you winning an election, there will be 15 youth in that parliament joining you. And that youth happens to be the chairman of the Parliamentary Select Committee. Speaker, thank you very much, Speaker. Now, here is the point I'm making. This parliament is diverse. But on the day, this Monday, past Monday, when parliamentarians were debating this bill for the second reading, correct me if I'm wrong, and third reading. Am I right, Speaker? First reading was before we suspended. Then second reading happened on Monday, and third reading, which is the final. By the way, you need 2/3 majority, 111 members of parliament, to vote for any constitutional amendment. And the UPND has only 98. The UPND does not have the number to allow for the Constitution to be amended. And on Monday, members of Parliament from all the parties, second reading, They voted by 131 members of parliament. I'm to allow for now the debate on clause by clause to be made. Should we bring women? Yes. Youth? Yes. Differently abled? Yes. MPs voted. But you needed more than 111 to allow that process to happen. And when they were done with those clauses, now you had to go to a final vote, which is critical, depending on how you have carried yourselves. Third reading and the final to allow the President to assent to this Bill 7 of 2025, the number even increased. We achieved an historic record of 135 members of parliament voted for the bill. An additional 4 members of parliament reflected and said, no, I want to be part of history. And history truly has been written. 135 members of parliament from different political parties, independents, everybody decided to do what is right for the country, not for HH, not for the Speaker, not for the Vice President, in no particular order, not for Kasune, truly for the 21 million Zambians, and passed the Constitutional Amendment Bill 7 of 2025. Can we clap for the members of Parliament? You must show happiness, especially if you are a woman seated here. You are a youth seated here. Vanamayo ntungulu 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 ntungulu. Vanamayo ntungulu 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 ntungulu. Ngalani pants vanamayo. Especially if you are a youth, you are a monk, you are a moma. Let's see the youth of Zambia, the youth there. Va youth in Tungulu, 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 Tungulu. Mungankale. Viva Monko, viva. Viva Moma, viva. What a wonderful moment to be alive. Right? Relax. Sit where you are seated. Sit where you are seated. Don't move. Don't move. Don't move. Let's move on. Let's move on. Let's move on. The phone is burning there. The phone. Sit where you are. Take it outside. Take it outside. Take that thing outside. Take it outside. Take it outside. Don't overcharge your phones. That's what happens. You overcharge your phone, that's what happens. All right. One Zambia. Nakabili, one Zambia. When I say one nation, you must answer one people. Let's start again. One Zambia. One nation. We are just one people. God's people. So, one more time, Can we clap for the members of parliament for the tremendous work that they did? Thank you very much. Members of parliament, let's clap for them. Let's clap for the members of parliament. Clap for the members of parliament. Thank you. You may take your seats. You may take your seats, please. Let's move on quickly. Therefore, I am right to say that this is a Zambian bill now from this moment signed. Is a Zambian constitutional amendment, whatever you want to call it, 7/2025. It's not for some Zambians, it's for all Zambians. You followed the process. This is born out of Zambian voices addressing Zambian needs. As we said, women, youth, those that live with disabilities, but also constituencies in our decentralization journey to have more constituencies so that we can now deliver more resources. My Royal Highness, I visited him one day and he took me to a school that was done by CDF. Sorry for abusing you. You may stand up. You may stand up. He took me to a school in his chiefdom. May we clap for our Royal Highness? You may take your seat. You may take your seat. And he took me to a school, myself, to say, look at this school. We were able to do it in this amount of money. Before this CDF came, this school had been done at 2 million kwacha. Now we've done it around, how much was that? 500,000. Because the local people are in charge. They don't want anyone to waste money because they are building one school and more and more. In one school before, when these decisions were centrally made, that school could have cost 3 million. 1 by 3, 2 million. Now they were able to do it and the chief was there at 500. So, simple arithmetic. How many schools were they able to do in 2 million kwacha? 4 schools. Instead of kids sitting under a tree, now kids were sitting in classrooms and there were desks. This is what this law now means. So, what a beautiful story. Who would be against such a thing? On what basis? Why would you be against taking money to the communities instead of Lusaka deciding everything? You can see the developments that are taking place now. Now with this delimitation, there will be more developments and there will be more things happening. Let's move on quickly. Going forward, I want to urge citizens that, yes, we have debated this bill. Then, Zambians have been worried about many other things, not just this debate. They want to see more electricity. They want to have power so that their saloons, their barber shops, their small restaurants in Mandevu, in Chipulukusu, in Manyinga, in Kashinakash, in Kambombo, in Chikalaba, in Nyanje, functioning. They want to see electricity in all the health centers so that that child who is on oxygen, premature, can survive. Going forward, Now that this debate is over, let's focus on that. And your government is working hard day and night to alleviate the electricity situation occasioned by the West drought and living member, sending a signal to us that we have been sleeping on duty. We now are working on diversified electricity sources, solar, coal, shamelessly. I'm very proud to say coal, best lot. And we're moving. Mamba phase 2 is moving. Chisamba phase 1 is done. Phase 2 is coming. 100 plus 100. Mwene. Amu imeko we? Amu ebingabat. That's a chief who is hosting 200 megawatts in Chisamba of solar. Phase 1 is finished. Phase 2 is under construction. Amu kale mwene. May we clap for this chief. Look at those two chiefs there. And they were both in the technical committee, Mushawati technical committee, so they can tell the story. Barongoban, Banabahes, Mwebananti. This is what Zambia is supposed to be. Let's address other serious issues. And your government is equal to the task. But we need your cooperation. All of you. You're an investor, bring them. You yourself can invest, invest. This servant of yours, once I'm done, I will make it public to contribute to what this call is about, to increase electricity. I've decided to sell so many of my cattle, and I'm completing a solar plant. I'll be announcing that, and you'll see it on television. So we're going to address this issue. And that is why we've now said every constituency must invest in at least 2 megawatts. And we're working very rapidly on that. So a combination of that, my trip to Zimbabwe, I was able to unlock the transmission capacity to bring more power. And I'm sure you have felt the difference already. Right? What we're doing locally, what we're importing from different countries, we will get there. Let's put our minds there now and put this debate behind us. Let's put this debate behind us. Right? Our full attention is to work towards, given climate change vulnerabilities, what we can call, for the monks and momas, exogenous variables. Not endogenous, but exogenous variables. I'm referring this to the students. They know why I'm doing that. Data. We want to make sure that rain or no rain, in a couple of years from now, we will have invested enough in irrigation agriculture, so that if the rain fails us, we will still irrigate and have food security. Let's take our minds there now and leave this debate. It's done legally through our constitutional democracy. That's how we resolve problems. And me, who was against continuing with by-elections, you've seen me signing, I own this amendment. So even those who had venomous arguments, under the constitutional democracy and the laws and rules of our country, for order, not for chaos, you must accept that this is your amendment. So let the debate end now and focus on food security, irrigation agriculture. Focus on free education. 2.3 million children back to school. Let's buy the extra desks because more kids are enlisting for school. That's my core. This amendment is about reforms, positive reforms, inclusion, not exclusion. I already mentioned that. These reforms are not for one person. They are for the current generation, you, including those who opposed the reforms in the constitutional amendment. They are for you, your children, your grandchildren, even those yet to be born. They are the owners. Baba Mukamwini. Ebe ne. Ndiye balina amendments. And if we remember those things, that we do things not for ourselves only, but for the greater good, it is easy to accept that we should move on now. But when you want to say only what I want must be done, you will have difficulties to move on. I'm also aware that some people have not moved on after the 2021 elections. They've not moved on. They've not moved on. They are still thinking this is a dream. No, it's real. It's real. It's real. Let's move on. Natulea kunta nshifye mwiwerele numa natulea kunta nshifye fisu mafiri kwisa. This far we have come. We must continue moving, building our economy, growth and more growth, for jobs, for business opportunities, for treasury income. So we can look after the weak, the sick, the old, the differently abled, the retired, as we do social cash transfer, Minister of Community Development. As we now do, Minister of Local Government, I've seen you there, bringing back cash for work. Cash for work. That's what it's all about. Let's move on. Let's move on. I therefore declare, monks and mamas, let's follow each other. I will start again. Based on what we've said, after signing, now that is law, I declare that the debate is now behind us. Let's continue building our country in all the 10 provinces, 116 districts. Currently, 156 constituencies. After this signature, more constituencies. Thank you. Thank you. Together, colleagues, without exclusions, without leaving any part of the country behind, together, all the 10 provinces, districts, constituencies, wards, polling stations, together, we move on, we soldier on to deliver a Zambia which citizens deserve. As we dealt with the debt restructuring, debt mountain, as we have dealt with the mines that were going down, as we are building tourism from 500 arrivals in 2021 to 2.5 million tourists arriving this year, as we have increased our reserves to the all-time high, and we are not satisfied. We want to build bigger things, and we will. As as we are now self-sufficient in fertilizer, as we are building factories to produce our own medicines, so we should soldier on to deliver a country that our grandchildren will be proud of us. So, Zambian citizens, let us unite. Let unity reign in our homes. Let love conquer hatred. Let's advance love, and it will deal with hatred. Just love alone will dismantle hatred. Let us do that. As a Christian nation, we will be in a good space. We will be in the right space to wash away the shame of being a country begging for Panados from others. I'm ashamed. I'm angry about that. I want to produce my own pharmaceuticals, and we're doing it. We should be a country of producers, not just consumers. We should be a country of hard workers. Noti kuikala fye tondolo. But you want to live a better life? Muntu talefo kubomba. Let's be a country of hard workers. Let's teach our children how to work. I don't agree that at my age when I was young, I was sent to the cattle post and I took care of the cattle. If I missed one, I was told to go back. Today you want to call that as child abuse. I don't agree. I don't agree. It's teaching children the culture of work. You don't overdo it, but you teach them the culture of work. They will grow up with it. They will marry. They will look after their husbands and wives and children. Then we'll have a better body of citizens. That's my core. Self-searching, soul-searching. How are we raising our children in our homes? Are we raising them just to sit? They can't even spread their bed. You will cry when those children grow up. Let's be responsible fathers and mothers. I want to simply say with humility that I'm grateful to you citizens for choosing a fellow like me to be your chief servant. I am conscious of the obligation you have placed on me and on this cabinet, and that speaker, that vice president in the same government, that speaker, these ministers, the judiciary, executive, legislature, judiciary. I am alive to the expectations of the people, day and night. What you expect from a fellow like me is a genuine effort to make this country better. There will be no cheating. We make a mistake, forgive us, correct us. But we will not do it because we want to cheat, because we want to steal. No. No bubera, no buhata, no wufi. I hear people say, no, this government is the government of wufi. On what issue? Check what we said we will do, see what we have done. Let love conquer hatred, and we will be okay as a nation. No Madimbeka. We Lunda say, no Madimbeka. No Madimbekas. With teamwork, unity or purpose, teamwork, hard work, respect for each other, we'll be okay. Even the electricity issue, soon it will be a thing of the past. But we have to endure what needs to be done. We have to endure what needs to be done. Nothing drops from heaven. Prayers help only when we are making an effort ourselves. Then prayers will help us. May God bless all of you. May God bless our beloved country, Zambia. I thank you for your kind attention. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, before you leave, we will ask you to descend. Mr. President, we will ask you to descend for a picture. We will ask you to descend, please, for a picture. We have a list for photo session. We have a list for a photo session starting with the technical committee.